Are you tired of waiting on lengthy DBT runs on your development workflows? Have you had to run all your models in your DBT project just because of a simple change you made on the model downstream? Because you want to see if your changes are working as expected, you had to run all your models, you had to spend time and spend compute resources for that to happen in your development workflow. Then you need to know about DBT favor state. DBT favor state is going to help you improve your workflows, help you save time, and also help you save on your compute resources when you are developing or during development. If this is your first time or returning viewer, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm really excited. Thank you so much. Now, this video is part of our A to Z series of DBT, and today's video we're talking about favor state. Now, what exactly is favor state in DBT? DBT favor state allows you to prioritize existing production models or artifacts when you're building in development. Say for example, you have model ABC and C is dependent on models A and B, and you have models A and B built already in production. Favor state allows you to build model C to pick its dependencies from the models that exist in production and not in development. Does that make sense? We're going to check it out and I'm going to explain that further. Now, this means that you can test your models and run your models without building all your dependencies in development, and this will help you save time and compute resources. You may ask, why does this matter? Now, imagine you have a large DBT project and you made a change on a single model. On development, you have to now run all the hundreds and thousands of models just to see that change downstream on that single model. No, that's not very good. However, with your favor state, you can actually point all dependencies of that models to run from what exists already in production. And that's where you save time, you save compute resources for your data warehouse, and you also save your cost. Now, how does favor state work? I'm going to share my screen right now, so you're going to see how this works in real time. Now, we talked about defer flag. Defer flag and favor state, they actually work side by side, but then what's the difference between defer and favor state? Now, the defer flag tells DBT, when you use defer flag when calling the command, it just tells DBT and say, hey DBT, reference the dependencies of these models to already what exists in production. Say for example, you have models A, B, and C is dependent on models A and B, and you're trying to build C or test a change you've made on model C. Now, what happens if you use a defer flag is that if models A and B exist in production and they don't exist in your development, defer flag will pick it up in production. If models A and B exist in development, using defer flag, it will still use what exists in development. However, if it does not exist in development, it's going to defer to what exists in production. However, for your favor state prioritizes what exists in production, even though it exists in development. So that's basically the reason. So actually, when you're using your favor state flag, it also wants to use your defer. So you're telling DBT defer to what exists in production, and yeah. So I'm going to share my screen right now. Alright, so you're here now on my screen. This is my DBT project, right? This is my DBT project in development on DBT Core. And then I created this folder called prod run artifacts. Now this folder has what I have, my manifest.json. However, this manifest.json is not my development manifest.json. This manifest.json is coming in from my production, right? So from my DBT cloud, if you run your project on DBT cloud, deploy your job on DBT Cloud. At the end of the run, you would find your manifest.json. Do I have that open? I don't think I have that open here. But then you just download that manifest.json from your production run. So I have that manifest.json in this folder. So the reason I have this here is because I want DBT favor states to defer to this folder and pick out the artifacts, the production run artifacts from this folder. Right. So I'll just show you what this looks like. So if I run DBT run, select my math. I'm just going to run. It's a very simple project. 3 files in staging and 1 file in math layer. Candidate course is my math layer, right? So let me run this guy. If I run this guy, this is candidate course. I actually made a simple change on this model, and if we check the compile for this, all right, yeah. So I'm going to run this now, and we are going to check what DBT compiles this to, because there's a ref, right? This is the ref, and we understand with the ref function, DBT uses ref to um, point to the other model. So if we go to compiled, math, and this guy, you see that DBT is doing what it should do, right? In development, it should do this. This was expected for it to do. And if we do the same thing for run as well, yeah, expected. This is what you expect DBT to do as well. However, if we now run with our defer and favor state, so we are saying DBT run, select this guy, candidate cost, defer state flag to this folder, and using your favor state. So I'm telling DBT to give priority to what exists in this folder. Now, if I use defer flag only without the favor state, DBT is going to defer only when it does not exist in my development schema, right? So if my dependent if this dependent models, let me go back here. If these models don't exist in my development schema on Snowflake, DBT would defer to what exists in production, right? However, if it exists in my development schema, DBT would still use what exists in my development schema. That's how the defer flag works. However, once I now add this favor state, I'm now telling it prioritize what exists here in production, whether it exists in my development schema or not. And so we're going to run this guy and we're going to check what happens in our um, target folder. You see, if I open this guy, so you now see it's in production. Transformation.reporting no longer is it on my schema anymore, right? If you check the run job as well, no longer. So basically, we are saying that instead of DBT having to, if I made a change downstream and I wanted to see what this change happened, I wanted to see the effect of my change on my model, instead of running all the dependencies, all the upstream dependent models or dependencies of those models one by one, so I can check this guy, I could already just defer to an already existing model in production, right? So I just defer to selecting from this table that exists in production. That way, I don't have to rebuild all the models anymore, and then I can still get my expected results, yeah, from my changes on my downstream models. Yeah, I hope this makes sense, right? Because primarily this helps you to save cost. This helps you to save time. You don't have to rebuild all the time. And then just a few call out of best practices to know is that this favor state is most effective with incremental models, right? And it allows you to focus on the changes you've made without doing a full rebuild. Also, you have to, wherever you're pointing your production manifest is, right? You have to ensure that it's not stale, basically, right? Especially if your production run is running on a schedule. So you have to just ensure that that production at manifest is not stale. All right, everyone. Have you tried the DBT favor state? I would like to hear your experience with the DBT favor state and how you've used it to improve your workflows in development. Right? I hope you got a thing or two out of this video, and please, I'll still like to hit that like button and the subscribe button as well. Thank you so much. In the next video, we're going to talk about graph operator as we continue our A to C series of DBT. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to share this video, share your comments, and don't forget to check the playlist as well and other videos on data, DBT, and all things data. Yeah. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye for now.